Today, we are diving into Liquid Handcuffs, a really powerful book by Helen Redmond that delivers a blistering critique of the methadone treatment system right here in the United States. We're going to break down its main arguments and use these slides to really show you what the book's most compelling ideas are all about. So, what's this book's big idea? Well, at its core, it argues that methadone, a life-saving, gold standard medication, is trapped inside a system that's all about policing and punishment. For 50 years, the author argues, this system has been imprisoning people instead of actually freeing them. So how does she make that case? The book kicks off with this incredibly personal and honestly striking contrast. The author, Helen Redmond, she compares her own experience getting medication with her friend Melissa's, who takes methadone. This one quote, right at the beginning, it just sets the stage for the entire book. It frames the whole issue not just as some policy problem, but as a really deep question about human freedom. And that lands us right in the middle of the central paradox the book explores. On the one hand, everyone agrees methadone is an essential medicine. It saves lives, it dramatically cuts the risk of overdose death. But on the other hand, the system we built to deliver it is described as operating less like healthcare and a whole lot more like a prison. Now, check this out. This is where the book makes it all so concrete. For the author's medication, Enbrel, the process is just easy. A 3-month supply gets delivered right to her door. But for her friend's methadone, it's a daily nerve-wracking ritual. If you oversleep, the door is locked. That means no medication for the day, maybe even 2 if it's a weekend. It's just a brilliant way to show the enormous difference in dignity and freedom given to different patients.
So, how in the world did the system get this way? Well, the book's answer is pretty chilling. It's by design. And to really get that, we have to look at what the author calls the carceral clinic and its built-in culture of cruelty. Okay, so carceral clinic, I know that's a heavy term, but the book defines it as a healthcare facility that basically functions like a prison. The key ideas are right here: a total lack of trust, constant surveillance, and the use of force and punishment to keep people in line. This is the lens the book uses to look at every single part of a patient's experience. And this is what that culture of cruelty actually looks like in real life. It's not just one thing. It's a whole ecosystem of control. You've got these tiny dosing windows that dictate your entire day, the constant threat of drug tests, and this so-called game to earn take-home doses, which, by the way, can be snatched away for any reason. Every single piece reinforces this one idea: the patient cannot be trusted. Now, a really crucial point in the book is that the system didn't just appear by mistake. Redmond argues it was intentionally built on a foundation of drug prohibition, crime control, and, racial politics. This timeline really lays it all out. You can just see how it escalates. It starts with these early laws that turn addiction into a crime. Then, boom, 1971, Nixon's war on drugs explicitly frames drug use as a crime issue, not a health issue. And that all leads to the 1974 Act that created the super-regulated, segregated clinic system we still have today. A system, the book argues, designed by law enforcement, not by doctors. And this quote, man, it just perfectly captures that whole historical argument. The idea here is that the system's flaws, all the cruelty, all the control, they aren't bugs that need to be fixed. According to this book, they are the core features. It was designed for punishment from the very beginning. To really hammer this point home, the book draws this incredibly sharp contrast between how we treat methadone and how we handle a newer medication, buprenorphine, which you probably know as Suboxone. This comparison, according to the author, reveals a deep, deep inequity that's built on race and class. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. On one side, you've got methadone. It's historically been linked with urban, poor, Black and brown communities, and it's given out in these super-controlled, segregated clinics. It was sold as a way to control crime. But then you have Suboxone. It was brought in to serve what the media called the new face of addiction: suburban, white, and middle class. And how is it dispensed? Doctor's office, local pharmacy, just like any other medicine. It's a tale of 2 different medicines, really, for 2 different populations. Okay, so if the system is really punishment by design, then what's the solution? This is where the book shifts gears from critique to a truly radical vision for the future, something the author calls an audacious goal. After documenting 50 years of what it calls a failed, cruel system, the book basically stops and asks a huge question. Is reform even possible at this point? Or do we need something much more drastic? And the book's answer isn't, let's make the clinics a little bit nicer. No. As this quote makes crystal clear, its central mission is a call for the complete abolition of the methadone clinic system. The goal is to free the medication and to free the people who depend on it. And this is what that future could actually look like. The book lays out a really clear 4-step vision. First, get rid of the current system entirely. Second, repeal all those unique, crazy regulations. And then here's the most important part. Just treat methadone like any other essential medicine. Let doctors prescribe it and let patients go pick it up at their local pharmacy. It's a call for simple equality and for medical freedom. Look, the ideas in Liquid Handcuffs really challenge the very foundation of how we think about addiction treatment. If you believe conversations like this are important, please do us a favor and like this explainer and definitely subscribe to our Recovery Anonymous channel. We need more voices questioning the status quo. So, after breaking down this powerful critique, what's the one thing we should walk away with? The book really leaves us with one essential lingering question.
Ultimately, Liquid Handcuffs challenges all of us to see a system that's dressed up as healthcare, but it argues actually functions as punishment. It forces us to look at an uncomfortable reality and leaves us with a provocative and, I think, absolutely essential question. For the people who rely on this life-saving medication, what does true medical freedom really look like?